Well, I want to address something that's a little uncomfortable as I drive in this uncomfortable traffic. I have seen some doom and gloom lately, and everybody's got a different idea of what level of negativity constitutes doom and gloom. To some people, it's not that bad. Some people, they have a very low tolerance for negativity, so just a little bit comes across as doom and gloom. But I guess my tolerance for negativity is very low. And just a little bit of pessimism, a little bit of negativity comes across to me as doom and gloom. So maybe I'm overly sensitive to it, but I don't like it. And I'll give you some examples, but like I said, it's a difficult subject to talk about because a lot of people are pessimistic about, well, to be blunt, political matters. And I don't like talking about politics with people because every single social media platform I've ever been a part of that started to discuss or be about politics or include politics, every single time I've seen the community divide in half. And it's an unfortunate reality these days that in America here, those of you who are in Canada, consider yourself blessed. You don't have this problem, I don't think. But here in America, you can't be friends with somebody that likes a different person for president than you do. That's just become the rule, it seems now. So once you find out if somebody likes the president or doesn't like the president, you can't be friends with them if they're on the other side from you, it seems like. Didn't used to be this way, but this is the way it has become. So I'm going to ask you guys not to talk about presidential stuff in the comments, and I'm going to remove any comments I see that mention that because it's extremely divisive. I've never seen a social media platform successfully, everybody's got high-minded ideas. Oh, we're going to be different. We're going to tolerate each other's views. Nope. Never works. It's just not the way this country operates anymore. Sorry. So I'm just going to ask you guys not to discuss politics or presidential stuff because it's just extremely divisive. I hate to see every single time what happens is the community turns against itself 50-50 and half the community turns against the creator of the community or the platform, whatever, like the person of the channel. So there's no need for that. There's no reason for that. So we're not going to go down that road. However, the reason I bring it up at all is because there is some stuff going on politically right now that it's very easy to be negative about. There's a war going on as I film this, and there's a chance that it's going to end today or tomorrow, and there's a chance that it's going to get way worse today or tomorrow. It could go two ways, right? Well, the impact that has is we got a lot of higher prices here in the United States. Not compared to, Europe, what Europe's got. It's not nearly as expensive. And parts of America are not nearly as bad as other parts of America here. The people in California are paying through the nose for gasoline, but down here in Florida, my gas prices still start with a 3 in the dollar range. So, wow, $7.47. In case you couldn't tell, that was the airport. I was dropping somebody off at the airport, and now I'm headed back home. 747 landed. That's pretty cool. I like being the guy to make the airport run. I believe it or not, I actually kind of think it's kind of fun. So, yeah, there is stuff that I can understand why people are pessimistic, and I can understand why people are kind of down. The prices are high. The grocery prices are higher. They're higher this year than they were last year. And last year, they were 30 to 40% higher than they had been 3 years ago. That's the thing about inflation, is even if the rate of inflation slows way down, it doesn't ever turn back down. You never really see deflation anymore. So once prices go high, they hardly ever come back down. Maybe for one or two commodities, like price of eggs got real high, but then they came down to normal. But generally speaking, I don't expect to see the price of F-150 trucks come back down to the $30,000, $40,000 range again. And gas prices have come up. They'll come down a little bit, but I don't think we're going back down to $2 gas again, right? But it's really easy to drift from stating the obvious and stating what's really happening into griping, borderline doom and gloom, or straight over into the world of negativity, pessimism, the world is ending type stuff, you know? And I'm all for being prepared. I was a Boy Scout. Our motto was be prepared. I don't have anything against prepping. I've got a large supply of water in my house. I have enough supply of, toilet paper that if we have another set of foolishness like we had in 2020, I could probably go a month without having to buy toilet paper again. You learn once, right? You learn once. I've got a supply of canned food that I could go a couple months if I had to without going to the grocery store. I wouldn't like it. It'd mean no more fresh meat, but I could live on ravioli. I got some chicken noodle soup and ravioli cans. I can get by if I had to. So I'm not against prepping, but I'm also not against worry. And I guess that is, man, there was a big crash here. There's like 30 million cop cars and a bunch of smashed up vehicles. I'm glad they got that cleared out as I work my way out here onto 595 West from the Fort Lauderdale airport. It's very easy to drift from complaining into pessimism into worry. And I guess that last transition is the one that I'm hardcore against, right? My friend Sally's got a saying that I like, which is, if you're going to pray, don't worry. And if you're going to worry, don't pray, right? So if you're the kind of person that says, I believe in God and I pray about stuff, then you don't have any business worrying, right? We got a saying around my house that it's illegal to worry. Worrying is illegal. And it's really, really easy to go from I'm concerned about something to I'm worried about something. And man, that's the gateway drug to doom and gloom. You cannot live your life in doom and gloom, you guys. It's really unhealthy. If you live in a perpetual state of Eeyore and just always seeing the negative side of things and actually predicting negative things, oh my goodness. You start predicting negative outcomes in your life, you're going to start seeing them. You're going to attract negativity by talking about it, thinking about it. I don't know what causes that. I don't know if it's a law of sowing and reaping. A lot of people talk about the law of attraction. A lot of people talk about speaking things into the atmosphere. I know my friend Lori talks a lot about frequency and what frequency you're on. I don't know what you call it. I don't know 100% the physics of how it works. I'm a big believer in sowing and reaping, which my friend Wes would probably just call karma. Not really a big karma dude, but I do believe you reap what you sow. And similarly, I think if you speak out, there's this phrase of you're speaking things that are not as if they were, and the intention is by speaking them, they will become so. Well, don't prophesy negativity over yourself. Don't predict negativity. Don't say, I got to take a road trip this week and I'm probably going to break down. Why would you speak something like that over yourself? Don't prophesy negativity into your life. And I guess that's why I'm so sensitive to even a hint of pessimism. Just a whiff of negativity starts to feel to me like speaking out negativity over yourself, and you're almost on the verge of praying a negative thing in, right? Prophesying negativity over yourself, whatever words you like to say. If you want to say don't speak negative vibrations into the universe, if that's what works for you, whatever it takes, I'm going to get out of this lane. The guy in front of me is like going slow in the left lane, but that means that now I'm blocking people behind me on the left lane, which makes me the bad guy. I'm not a friend of his, so I'm just going to go around him. Why am I telling you that? You don't care what I'm doing in traffic. Anyway, this is a very difficult thing to talk about because I don't want anybody to feel attacked, and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm coming after you specifically. I'm not. It's really hard. I'm probably going to have to decide whether or not, like, do I just completely edit this video to try to make it make sense, or do I leave it almost 100% unedited because I'm trying to talk out what's important and how I feel about it. I really am very passionate about this. And I think the reason that I'm directing this entire YouTube channel to be about spreading optimism, but also helping people to understand how to be optimistic, is because I believe so strongly that a negative, pessimistic attitude perpetuates itself, and that you can bring down doom upon yourself. Man, sometimes I get myself really distracted when I'm thinking by saying a word, and then I start thinking about what the word means. Do you ever do that? Like, the word doom did not used to mean a negative, what was that word? Like, a person reaches their destiny. Doom did not used to mean your negative destiny. It used to mean your destiny. So if somebody was going to speak your doom, you know, like in Middle English times, speaking your doom just meant speaking your destiny, talking about your ultimate destiny. So you could have a positive doom. I don't know, you ever heard of the Doomsday Book? The Domesday Book just meant the state of things as they were. It was basically a census. Man, I am really, really off topic here. I'm sorry. I just saw the retention graph drop through the floor, and now it's in the basement. Anyway, let's just talk for a second. Let me wrap this up. I know I've been talking for 13 minutes. Oh my goodness. But it's a difficult thing to parse through because I don't want people to feel attacked, and I don't want people to feel like I'm coming after you because you specifically, you know, we're talking about the negative repercussions of American political current situation or the war. There I go, distracting myself again, reminding myself of that song, Alice's Restaurant. Do you guys remember Alice's Restaurant? When he's like, but I didn't come here to talk about that. Came to talk about the war. Of course, that was in the Vietnam era, so different war, different situation. I wonder how hard it was to be a optimist during the Vietnam War. I bet that was tough. I don't know. I like to tell people I was born between the world wars. That's how old I am. I was born between the world wars. That's true. I was born between World War II and the next one. But then you could also make the argument that World War III started sometime around the Kennedy assassination. So don't get me started on all that. Sorry. Oh my goodness. We're going down a lot of rabbit trails on this video. I apologize. I really don't mean to waste your time and drag this out, but listen. If I react negatively, or if I react in disagreement to even the slightest whiff or hint of pessimism, please forgive me. Please allow it. I have a very low tolerance for negativity. I hate the idea of somebody prophesying negative doom over themselves. I hate the idea of someone speaking negative that which is not as if it were. And I hate the idea of somebody, spelling out a negative reality for themselves that they did not have to live through and did not have to endure. So I guess that's why I like to be positive and I like to be optimistic, because I feel like speaking out good things, even when it's not good, will lead to good. And they say always look on the bright side of life, right? I think that looking on the bright side can bring more bright sides. And trying to see the possible positive outlook will lead to an eventual positive outlook happening. I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one. but I'm happy. I'll tell you what, I'm a lot happier than I was. I think I told you guys once that I went through a wilderness having worked through a series. I had to work for a series of very negative supervisors. That was a tough wilderness to go through, and it kind of brought down my spirits and crushed my optimism for a while. I was even more optimistic then than, if you can believe it, I was more optimistic then than I am now. But then, unfortunately, I went through a period of a series of negative supervisors who just could not be pleased. And I know that in their heart, they thought that that was the way to motivate people to do better and do more, by never being satisfied and always demanding better. They call it stretch goals. Stretch goals, when you give someone a goal you know is impossible, because they'll reach further than if you had given them an attainable goal. They may not reach the goal, but man, you go through 3 years of never making a single goal, and the manager always either acting or really not being happy because you never reached what they thought, or at least what they said was your attainable goal. It can really crush your spirit. So having lived through my little wilderness, my time in the wilderness of negativity, and having now made up my mind now that I'm not going to do that again. Whew. That was a rough time, culminating in the loss of a very good friend as he passed away while on a vacation out of town. And he went on vacation. I said, "Have a good trip," and I never saw him again. That was best friend. Whew. Boy, now I'm being negative. Anyway, I'm just saying all that to say I've been through some negative stuff, and I had my wilderness. And I made up my mind. Made up my mind is not going to happen again. Made up my mind to make a new start. I'm going to California with an aching in my heart. Not really. I'm not going to California. The gas is way too expensive out there. Hey, I guess I've said what I've got to say. I think I did a pretty poor job this time. Very, very poor job of getting my point across. But I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it any clearer. I apologize for the unclarity of this video. Got to think about whether I even want to release it. I think on balance, I got my message across. On balance, I think you know where I'm coming from. I hope you guys can hear my heart in this. I want the best for you. I want what's best for you, and I want every single one of you to be able to experience the daily joy that I feel. And when I see people struggling and in pain, especially when they're speaking negativity and woe is me, Eeyore, doom and gloom over themselves, I know they don't see it that way. I know they don't think they're being negative. They're just... I got a friend, he says I'm the optimist, and he says he's not a pessimist, he's a realist. See, in my mind, anybody who calls themselves a realist is a pessimist, because if you say you're being a realist, you're not being an optimist. You got to be optimistic, because it's the only way. It's the only way to live, man. All right, well, hey, if you guys want, we can talk about this on our live stream next Wednesday. We do a live stream every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Maybe we talk more about this, maybe not. I don't know. It's a tough topic to talk about. Again, reminder, if you're gonna comment on what I talked about here, don't get political. Don't talk about the president thing. It just divides people. You got your opinion. Don't worry about it. You don't have to share it, because I hate to see this awesome, beautiful community that we've got here turn on itself, and I've seen it happen to way too many good online communities. Great people turning on each other over something so dumb. It happens. So, I'll see you Wednesday night, live stream, 8:30. No, not 8:30. Where did I get 8:30? 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And just a reminder, if you remember me as Escaping the Suburbs, we are slowly switching it to Winning the Week, because I believe we are winning every single week. We're winning this week one day at a time here with an optimistic and positive outlook. And the Escaping the Suburbs is a great name, man. What a great name. But Unfortunately, there were some folks who thought that I meant I'm escaping the suburbs into the city, and I was really trying to encourage people to get out into green spaces and nature. That's where I'm happiest, man. Spend some time out in my garden, go out in the Everglades, go to one of these nature preserves we got down here. Escape the suburbs into nature. That's the way. Whew. Anyway, we're winning the week. And I got a spot for you saved over here on Wednesday night, right here at the Cool Kids table. There's plenty of room for you over here, Wednesday night live stream. And the comment section here is also the Cool Kids table, so pull up a seat. I saved you a spot. And if you forgot your lunch money today, don't worry, I'll share my French fries with you. And I'll see you guys in the next video, all right? Don't do anything I wouldn't do.